definitely more awareness for the people, because lots of people just throw away stuff just because they don't know what to do with it. Better recycling programs.
Obviously, I guess recycling, as I said. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
We are gearing ourselves towards a huge waste management concern, a problem of magnitudes that I don't know that we would be able to correct if we keep going. I think that we can't look at waste as simply a present problem. Unfortunately, waste accumulates, especially in landfills, and the effects of waste in incineration processes accumulate as well in the atmosphere and in water sources. And I think that it's really important that we focus on the long term of waste management and not just today.
Of course it's possible. Everything is possible. But we need a public that sees this as a problem and wants to do something about it. We need legislated leadership from our governments, which make legislation that enables us to do the right things. And we need industry to understand that there's money to be made through the proper treatment of our wastes.
That plastics aren't an energy source, they're a design problem. So, a lot of this problem is really at the other end of the pipe. It's not about the disposal and what we do with this stuff once it's out there. That is an issue we have to deal with right now, but ultimately if we're ever going to get a handle on our waste issues, it's about changing things upstream. It's about putting more of the onus on the producers to be more responsible, to make packaging that is recyclable, to limit the amount of packaging that's used, to create incentives for take-back programs, for reuse, and on all of us to sort of reduce our levels of consumption and the amount of material that we're consuming that has negative implications. So it is quite possible that we could drastically reduce the amount of waste that's being generated, and that we could compost all that organic matter. And as far as the plastics go, we just got to get better and better at recycling, and we have to have stronger extended producer responsibility rules.
Yeah.
So I do have a small compost bin that I use, and what I do with it is I actually walk it about 4 blocks down to the local garden about every couple of days in order to be able to compost. But I think a lot of people don't have the opportunity to compost, as it's not really a provincial-wide or municipal-wide program.
My yard waste, I don't throw it in the garbage. My organic waste, I keep what I can aside, and I take that to my dad's house in buckets. He lives in the valley, so he's got the access to composting that I don't have here in the city.
Almost all of it can go back into the soil. If you put the organics in a landfill, they release methane over time. If you put them in an incinerator, they release carbon instantaneously. And neither option is good. Because that organic material actually has a lot of important nutrients in it, and if you put it back into the ground, you're actually capturing the carbon. So the best solution really is to try to put as much of the organic material back in the soil as possible. Now there are some problems. There's some things that are more difficult to deal with. For example, wood that's been treated with arsenic needs to be dealt with in some way.
Even if you're just throwing the dirt away, like what I'm doing, unfortunately, you're still reducing the amount of waste that goes towards that otherwise would probably go towards the landfill. Because
the suggestion that was made today by Vancouver City Councillors was fantastic. Actually, they suggested the banning of all organic material from landfill, full stop, which would be very, very positive. And that's what Nova Scotia did, and they've actually generated a lot of jobs in the process. They actually have more composting facilities now than they have landfills.
I think that a huge responsibility comes down to the municipality and the province even to educate people about the benefits of composting, the process of composting itself. There's not a lot of information available from the city regarding how composting works, but it definitely is a worth it process, and it is something that needs to be encouraged within our province and our nation. Actually, Metro Vancouver and BC itself has a really great program in place already for monitoring of our utilities. It would be great to be able to see an expansion of that in order to include pay-as-you-throw systems, which are basically systems where each resident and household is allotted a certain amount of waste that they are allowed to dispose of, and above and beyond that they have to pay for the amount of waste that they dispose of. So it causes a reduction in waste due to the increased cost, and if there is no reduction in waste, they are at least paying for, there is at least an economic cost to the excessive amount of waste that they are creating.
Yeah.